So as far as managing contacts, the people you encounter that will get you closer to your next job. These can be recruiters, hiring managers, inside referrals, outside referrals, coaches, or job seekers in the network. We have a phrase called work closest to the money. That means focus your activity on what's getting you closest to your goal. Are contract jobs worth it? Absolutely yes. You can get benefits as a contractor through the agency that you're contracting for. You're eligible for unemployment. You can have an open door to a company that you may not have had access to before. It can fill work gaps, expand your network, and the pay is usually higher. One thing to remember on that is there's no such thing as a truly permanent job. So even though you may work full-time for a company, it does not necessarily equate to job security. Agency recruiters have a bad rep, and I get it. So having been an agency recruiter, let me explain how that works. Agency recruiters work for companies to find talent for their hardest to fill roles. Companies don't want to pay agencies to find talent that they can find themselves. So usually there's some requirements behind finding somebody who is going to work for your company on the client side. The company contracts the agency to fill the role. The company pays the agency an hourly markup for contract or a large lump sum, 15 to 25% of your first year salary, to find you as top talent, right? Companies are willing to pay to get the best of the best people. There's a guarantee period that if you do not work out within a certain time frame, then the company doesn't have to pay, or they have to find a replacement at no cost. You should never, ever have to pay a recruiter to find you a job. It's kind of the old headhunter methodology. It was quickly outdated in the 1990s, and we really want to work with companies who are paid by the company, not by you. If you are working with an agency, they have access to usually 50 to 180 jobs, but depending on the organization, or maybe an independent recruiter could also qualify, and they're usually working 20 jobs or so. They can cross-sub you to multiple opportunities, so there's benefit to working with them and finding opportunities. Recruiters for agencies earn commission, so they're usually base plus commission, and if they submit you to a job, your chances for hire are about 1 in 6. Signs of a good agency recruiter would be that you have multiple ways to contact them, that they have a LinkedIn profile, that they can answer your questions about teams and environments, that they know the salary range for the job, the full job description, maybe even some things that are most important in the job description, and then maybe they can help you navigate that hiring process. They should have answers to those questions. They should have a set follow-up process. And then if you're a contractor, they should have a contractor care plan for how they stay in touch with you when you're out working for them. Corporate recruiters are different. So they work for a specific company as an internal employee. They are paid base, not commission, although some companies do bonus recruiters for going above and beyond. They recruit on multiple positions within one organization. So it can range anywhere from potentially like janitors to executives. They work 10 to 30 recs at a time. But if they submit you for a job, your chances for hire are about 1 in 3. College recruiters are totally different. They focus on bringing in new college grads, those people who have a lot of energy, they're up and comers, they'll work dirt cheap, and they'll do the dirty work without complaining because they're looking for a foot in the door to grow their company. They're recruiting the best of the best. And again, it's starting level, entry level pay. It should work like this. It doesn't always. That you apply for a position, or the recruiter finds you, they submit you to the hiring manager follows up, they give feedback, and then the recruiter delivers that feedback to you. That's where the breakdown usually happens. The recruiter then schedules interviews or lets you know that thanks, but no thanks. However, managed staffing kind of convoluted that process, right? So we have a breakdown in the feedback. Managed staffing came in where there's one large agency like Fieldglass that manages multiple vendors for companies like Lockheed, Elbit, DynCorp. A lot of companies have these managed staffing providers where it goes out to a lot of people all at once. They send that job to the vendors at the same time. Each vendor can then submit 2 to 3 candidates. The agency receives a scorecard based on how well they perform on each job, and the chances for hire on that are about 1 in 100. It's not that they're not viable options, because 1 in 100 do get hired. There are hires that happen this way. However, recruiters don't have contact with the hiring manager. They can't influence hiring decisions. A way that you'll know it's managed staffing is they'll ask for the last 4 digits of your social and the month and date only of your date of birth. That's not usually a scam, guys. That's how they track you, because those numbers don't change where other numbers do. So if you're working with managed staffing, it's not that I don't want you to work with them. I just want you to set your expectations that you may or may not receive the feedback that you're looking for that position, because it's 1 in 100 and they don't have a way to get feedback from that hiring manager. So lots of gatekeepers there. For feedback, do we change the system or do we change our expectations? If we understand that only 10% of companies send declination letters to candidates, then we have to temper our expectations. We can't storm the gates and demand change. Although we need change and we need reform in the hiring process, we're probably not going to get it before we get our next job. So understand, if we change our expectations, then maybe we can minimize the amount of disappointment and frustrations that we feel if we just don't expect a response. Unfortunately, that's the way that the hiring process is working. There are autoresponders that sometimes happen immediately. That's a good indication. If you receive a declination within 5 to 10 minutes, then that's a good indication that your either resume was not ATS compatible with their system, or that you did not meet one of the required skills that they were looking for. A recruiter will review your resume after the ATS kind of passes it along. And when that happens, if they do a declination, they can respond right then to say, I'm sorry, but we're not interested. Thanks, but no thanks. And then you'll see that, within a few hours to a few days. If a notification happens like a couple of weeks later, we've moved on with another candidate, that can be when the job closes. The recruiter can choose to say, notify all candidates who were not selected that this position has closed. The maybe pile works just like with the ATS resume, where the recruiter's like, I would like more information, or maybe we're kind of interviewing this other person, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll reach out to you. That maybe pile is where you don't receive feedback. And most of the time, if you're not receiving feedback, it's because you're a maybe for that position. My favorite TD Jakes quote is that it may not be the thing, it might be the thing that leads to the thing. So keep in mind that what you're doing may not be the thing that lands you your next opportunity. It might be the thing that leads to the thing that will land you your next opportunity. There are a lot of theories in the job search about networking and how it's so much more important than job applications, which is not necessarily the theory I subscribe to, but I do believe in strategic networking. As Foster Williams would say, it's about the relationships and barbecue. Referrals versus connectors. Let's talk about that, guys. If I have a relationship with you, I know you, I can vouch for you, I'll put my name on the line for you, I know you'll do a great job, I know you're a good fit, that's a referral. But if I'm just connecting you because we run in the same circles, or you're a friend of a friend, or maybe you just messaged me on LinkedIn and established a connection with me, then I can connect you with somebody, but I'm not able to give you a referral because I don't know you and I can't vouch for you. So there's a difference in connecting you with somebody versus referring you. Companies have jobs, they don't create them usually. So it's very, very, very rare for a company to create a position for a candidate just because they like them. Jobs are created due to an increased workload, a change in personnel, or expanded lines of business. They don't pay a company to introduce you to the hidden job market, right? So don't do that. That's like one of the biggest scams out there. There's not 5,000 jobs out there that aren't listed on websites. If a company doesn't have a job posting, there's usually a reason they have somebody in mind for the position, but it's not just we're waiting for somebody to introduce us to the right person. That's not how hiring managers really operate. So be strategic. Connect with people who you want to expand your network with. Connect with influencers and coaches and recruiters and hiring managers and potential teammates. But don't get so caught up on changing everything you're doing every single time somebody gives you new advice, right? So there are a lot of experts who have differing opinions, just like there's doctors who have differing opinions and all of these different components. So I want you to sift through what works, what feels authentic to you, what feels helpful for you, do that, and then kind of let the rest go. Make sure that people are giving you information that is data-driven and science-driven, not just that is their personal opinion that they're passing off as fact, which is actually probably the biggest way for experts to make me angry, because I think it confuses people. Also, you want to build relationships with people, which takes time. Networking is not a quick fix. You have to earn the ask, and that's a really important phrase here. There's a bank of account principle that says every relationship, no matter what kind, starts with equity, either negative or positive, based on people's past experience. If you do something that's entirely selfish in nature or one-sided, that's a withdrawal. If you do something that is entirely selfless in nature, that's a deposit. So when you go to network with somebody, before you make that connection request, can you connect me with so-and-so? Can you introduce me to? Does your account have the equity to cover that transaction that you are making? Have you made enough deposits into that relationship to earn the ask? Have you built that relationship? Have conversations that are about them, get to know them. And then once you build that relationship and there's enough money in that account, in that relationship account, then you can then ask and have a better response than if you just dive in for the ask and then it feels like you're spamming them and you actually lose credibility. When you send thank you notes, it's a great way to have a deposit into that equity account. You thank them for their time, you acknowledge their expertise, you acknowledge their busy schedule, and then you let them know you're excited about the role, right? What problems can I solve for you? I'm pouring into you, not asking you for anything. I haven't built equity to ask. Then a follow-up can be a little bit more of a withdrawal, so you have to be cautious about how you do this. There's a fine line between following up and stalking. Is there any information that I can provide for you to help you make your decision? I'm still very excited about this opportunity and I understand you're busy, but if I can do anything that would help the process, I would be happy to do that. And then you can follow up on day 3, day 7, day 14, and then move on. If they're not giving you an answer, don't keep chasing it. I want you to focus your time and energy on what is closest to the money. And somebody who is ghosting you or not responding to you is definitely not closest to the money. Okay. So next will be organizing and managing our contacts through HubSpot. I've got that video up and ready for you. I will I'll have both of these posted on YouTube here in just a second. I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Thanks. Bye.